In today's video, we're going to be discussing the upcoming changes to Halo 3 on both PC, Xbox One, and we're also going to be discussing the Halo 3 ODST PC flight. Now, Season 3 is going to be known as Recon, and this is a callback to, of course, Halo 3 with its Recon armor, and the fact that Halo 3 ODST was originally titled Halo 3 Recon. Now, with this season, we're getting Halo 3 visor skins, weapon skins, nameplates, and Halo 3 ODST customization as well. Now, shown here in the flight is only 5 tiers. I'm hoping that when the final retail release is pushed through to the Xbox One and released on Steam and the Windows Store, that there is not just 5 tiers. Generally, there are 10. Some tiers are, again, stacked with multiple items, such as visors, nameplates, weapon skins, or some combination of all 3. Now, when it comes to the multiplayer customization for Halo 3, unfortunately, it is only for the Spartan model character. The elites aren't getting any love in this season. Now, taking a look here, this is the Xbox One version of the flight, and they've already increased the model detail in the preview model here. They've also given you enhanced and upgraded high-res textures and, of course, better looking visors. Now, these, of course, all have different unlocks to them, and while some of them are more desirable than others, the simple fact that they have different visors for Halo 3 is something that is, of course, new content being added to a game that came out in 2007. Now, taking a look here, we have the weapon skins, and as of right now, there is only the pistol, the assault rifle, and the battle rifle. I'm hoping that they will add more weapons into the customization, as the customization isn't as expansive as it was when they added this in for Halo CE, especially with the amount of weapon customization that they offered in that season. Now, these offer, of course, different skins, and some of them are, well, pretty cool looking. The gold looks rather sharp, and of course the sharpshooter and Blue Haven, and these all look awesome when it comes to the in-game engine. This, of course, is being rendered in Unreal Engine 4, and when it comes to the different weapon customization, it is very limited. And again, I'm hoping that this is just, because it is a flight, a brief snippet of the content and isn't exactly what we should expect from the final version. I'm hoping that we will have more variation of skins, and I'm also hoping that we will also have more variation of weapons that we can add stuff to. I'm looking forward to customizing the SMGs, so hopefully they have that available when it releases soon. Now, other than the unlockable weapon skins that we're going to be able to have, the base model skins have also received a upgrade to more high-res textures, and personally, with these pictures here, I prefer the original. I like being able to see the weapon detail, and the weapons are a lot brighter and they're not as dark. Also, big shout out to Kevin Coolx here on YouTube for allowing me to use these photos. I'll put his channel in the description as well. Not to be forgotten is, of course, the customization for Halo 3 ODST's Firefight. Now, you're given the options here, and they're pretty similar. There's not really anything any different, except for a few added things, such as the injured Romeo with his helmet on and his helmet off, and then, of course, the bug-splattered Buck and with his helmet on and off. Johnson, it's nice to see Sergeant Johnson added in, as he was a pre-order bonus for pre-ordering the game back in 2009. Now, no Halo flight would be complete without its own list of bugs and glitches, and of course, being tested on the PC and the Xbox One, both had a whole list of things, and some of which have been resolved, and some of which have not. Now, we're going to go over the resolved issues first, and this information can be found at the Halo support site. Again, the link will be in the description in case you guys are interested. But taking a look here at the resolved issues for ODST are as follows. The grenades thrown by players did not travel as far in firefight. When users are playing with the centered crosshair option, the crosshairs and zoom reticule appear to be more oblong when compared to the lower legacy. The emblem on the armor is chosen at random in ODST Firefight, and they improved an issue that caused ragdolls to bounce during ODST Firefight sessions. Now, when it comes to the Halo 3 resolved issues, the Season 3 weapons, skins, and visors and colors for Halo 3 revert to the default upon death. And Season 3 weapons skins for Halo 3 revert to default weapon skins while in active camouflage. The resolved issues for the UI, of course, are improved transition between models in the UI that caused some T-posing. Now, of course, moving on to Halo 3, the previously resolved issues was a bug with how the bullet registration worked for both 60Hz and 30Hz engine refresh rate for multiplayer sessions, series of issues that caused floating turrets, mongooses falling from the sky, and a series of issues that were identified during the initial flights of Halo 3 with the elephants on Sandtrap. The service IDs are shorter than 3 characters now and display in Halo 3 gameplay, and the scoreboard player scrolling is now bound to the up and down arrow keys for the PC. Updated how the camera intersects with objects in Forge, fixing an issue where players would be flung out of the map boundaries and killed when playing or moving objects. The several improvements to Forge with camera, movement, menu navigation, and placing or moving objects, and Halo 3 matchmaking game films that would not allow the player to restart the film. Of course, moving on to the globally known issues for Halo 3 ODST, suicide grunts do not render the grenades or play the audio as intended on dedicated servers. Single-shot weapons recoil is stronger for the Magnum and the Carbine. Lighting flickers in the opening cutscenes for the Coastal Highway on unlimited frames. Players are unable to communicate using in-game voice. Enemy animation destroys desync in ODST Firefight. In custom or match-made firefight sessions, you will often notice enemies slide to a new location quickly or are teleported forward. After players throw a grenade, it will appear to teleport in the air shortly before landing. The explosion is also offset for the initial landing. And during ODST cutscenes, characters with longer dialogues will only have the first part of their sentences displayed in subtitles, with the rest of it being cut off. On the campaign stats are not tracked in Halo 3 ODST on the player details page. Mission descriptions are in debug string, and the superintendent overlay on camera footage extends outside of the cinematic view. Now, when it comes to PC specifically in the gameplay, culling is present in the character's body when using a high field of view, unable to scroll the visor database map diagonally when using the WASD controls. When using mouse wheel zoom controls in the visor, they are inverted, and the emblem on the UI in-game is too small in ODST Firefight. Now, specifically for multiplayer on PC, rarely Halo 3 ODST co-op is unable to connect users for extended periods of time. Players are able to use health packs after starting a second round of Firefight. When a Brute Chieftain activates their invulnerability, the visual effect flashes on briefly, then disappears. When it comes to the UI on PC, the customization screen's title shows debug strings for all languages. The audio on PC with the game music slider affects also the volume of the sound effects, and the effects audio are missing for the right speaker and stereo for ODST campaign cinematics. Now, moving on to the Xbox known issues with Halo 3 ODST. Some players are unable to launch after installing the flight build and can get around this by power cycling the console. This is something that I ran into, and yes, it's just a simple turn your console off, turn it back on, and it lets you launch the flight. When it comes to the globally known issues for Halo 3, the Halo 3 Forge, if too many objects are placed on a map and the map is saved, the map will not feature any of the objects the next time the map variant is loaded. There are 2 static background images in the cinematics, the Mission Cortana, which will appear incorrectly when using the performance graphics quality settings. When it comes to multiplayer, in Halo 3 PvP, the auto turret equipment targets all users indiscriminately, one placed including the user and their teammates. On Microsoft Windows 7 or 8.1, the application will soft lock when loading out of Halo 3 gameplay if the audio device has been changed during the game session. Weapon textures pop when they first spawn into the Halo multiplayer match. A clear white texture is apparent in the visor of the character in-game when selecting any color for the security helmet. And when it comes to the user interface, When selecting the security chest armor in the character customization screen, it will not appear in the preview but will be equipped in-game. Halo 3 weapon skins are not visually saved when exiting the customization menu. And for the PC known issues for Halo 3, the same with the UI. When changing the playback device either in Windows settings or unplugging or plugging in the headset, the audio will cease functioning in Halo 3. Now, when it comes to the changes made to Halo 3's multiplayer that we've been testing here in the PC flight, they're attempting to fix the shot registration issues. Now, originally, when Halo 3 released on PC back on July 14, they did some under-the-hood changes, and the shot registration felt much, much better, especially on the Xbox One version, where it suffered the most. Now, they're attempting here another fix, more of a band-aid before they go in and dig into the code and look for the changes that need to be made. They're increasing the bullet velocity for the battle rifle. Now, you might not know that that had even happened unless somebody told you, but personally, I feel that it does make the Halo 3 battle rifle feel more responsive and more reliable than it had previously. Aside from shot registration fixes, we've also been testing a new game mode called Recon Slayer. Now, this honestly isn't one of my favorites, but it's definitely new content for a game that is over 10 years old. And honestly, something like this coming to Halo 3 is kind of shocking. You would expect this to be some sort of mod that the community has done, but this is actually something that 343 is implementing themselves. You're going to be starting off every round of Recon Slayer with the handgun and the SMG from Halo 3 ODST, and they function exactly the same. So what that means for the pistol and the SMG, they both have a small mid-range scope. The pistol fires at a pretty fast and decent rate and is wicked, and will definitely take out an enemy with just a few headshots. And the SMG has the scope, giving it that little bit of extended range. As long as you pulse the trigger, you should have no problems with accuracy. And this game mode is separate from itself. You won't find these weapons in just a standard Slayer or a Team Slayer. And while playing Recon Slayer, the weapons are also not dual wieldable. And this, of course, is due to balance reasons and the fact that they're not dual wieldable in Halo 3 ODST. Overall, I really did enjoy the flight. It's unfortunate that I wasn't able to get into the PC version of the flight. It was actually really difficult to go back and play the Xbox version, and the reason for that being isn't just due to frame rate or due to graphic settings. It's the simple fact that the field of view sliders really do make a big difference when it comes to gameplay, and I'm really hoping that they can get those moved over to the Xbox One version very soon. But aside from that, it was a blast. Firefight is fun, the new fixes for multiplayer seem interesting, and of course, the customization is something that I cannot wait to get my hands on. As always, don't forget, in order to be part of the conversation and have your voice heard, hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment in the section down below. If you guys are new around here, check out some of my previous videos. I upload content weekly. If you guys found any news and or informative value to this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, as it does help out the channel and the video. And don't forget to check out the links in the description. I've got my social media, and links for support for the channel are there as well. But until next time, everyone, thank you all for joining me here today, and I'll see all of you in the next video.